Brittany said it best. Oops, I did it again. So just before I headed out on Friday to do some errands, as I had a ride, I got an email from my local thrift store that everything was off for 50%. And what can I say? That's just too good a deal to pass up, especially when it meant 10 new books for $20. Super excited. I'm not even going to say it'll be a while before the next time because I don't know the way that it's going. Lotto Max would definitely be a nice bonus at this point, but realistically, since I really don't go shopping for many other things, books are my happy place and where I end up going. So what did I get this time? A couple of repurchases, actually. Edgar Cayce, The Sleeping Prophet. This is by Jess Stearn. I did read this years ago, and I did own a copy that I unhauled. I also found Anne Rice, The Tale of the Body Thief, which I once owned as a hardcover. Now it's paperback, and if you've read the series, The Vampire Chronicles, you'll know what the Talamasca is, and you'll remember the characters of David and Aaron, who I did enjoy reading about, and there's the crossover, of course, with Aaron in The Witching Hour and the 3 books that involve that trilogy. So I decided to pick this up as it's one of the books from the Chronicles I have yet to reread. I haven't been reading them in order, but I did like the character of David, so I knew I might read this book again. Another of the Vampire Chronicles that I have read was Blackwood Farm. I actually borrowed that from the library, but when I saw this at the thrift store, I decided it's one of the stories that I would enjoy reading again, so I picked it up. It's also interesting, as I mentioned in Prince Lestat, which I have read, the last book in this series. All of the vampires throughout the Chronicles are mentioned. It provides their backstories. So even if you haven't read any of the other Chronicles, Prince Lestat is almost a standalone novel itself, but our main character from Blackwood Farm isn't in Prince Lestat, which I thought was a bit unusual, and I'll have to read it again to find out what happens to our character there. Another book that I was very excited to find is Runes, The Secret Healer. This is by David and Bernard Frank, Ancient Solutions for Modern Day Life. I've always found the runes fascinating. I do have a set of them as well as a book, and I used to do readings with runes. So it's something I'm looking at revisiting and learning a bit more about. Another tool that I personally use is the tarot. I've mentioned in an earlier video, my first deck was when I was 19 years old. It was a gift from my best friend, and it's still the only deck that I use to do readings for other people. I use separate decks for myself, but I thought this would be a fascinating read. Become more intuitive, psychic, and skilled at reading cards. So this is about tarot interactions. This is by Deborah Lip, an author new to me, so I'm very much looking forward to checking that out. I found this one interesting, and this will tie in with some of the work that I have by Dr. Newton, as well as some other different works that have to do with alien abductions, hypnotherapy, a variety of other subjects. So this is DMT, the spirit molecule, a doctor's revolutionary research into the biology of Near-Death and Mystical Experiences. This is by Rick Strassman. Now, in this case, the people that he was approved to do research on, they were given a chemical, a plant-derived DMT, a plant-derived chemical that is also manufactured by the human brain, consistently produce near-death and mystical experiences. Many volunteers reported convincing encounters with intelligent, non-human presences, especially aliens. Nearly all felt that the sessions were among the most profound experiences of their lives. So I'm very fascinated to read about this. Unsolved Mysteries, and this is by Joel Levy. Bizarre events that have puzzled the greatest minds. I took a quick browse through. They have some great pictures and layouts. It's set up by colors. So I'm guessing that has to do with the different subjects. I had noticed as I was flipping through, it talks about El Dorado. That comes up in, they're down there, Zachariah Sitchin's Earth Chronicles. Yes, so they are based on colors. The first section has to do with mysterious places. So things like Oak Island, also called the Money Pit, Rosalind Chapel, which is great because I think Rosalind's down in that cube. The other book that I just bought about Rosalind Chapel, The Winchester Mystery House, which I've read various things about. Unsolved Events is the next section. So I really do enjoy that this is by colors. The Lost Colony of Roanoke, and the Mary Celeste, a ship that I've read about and various theories what happened there. The Tunguska event, which I've just read about in another book and I've read about before. D.B. Cooper, so a lot of interesting things there. Strange sightings. Now this will be fascinating because this talks about Spring-Heeled Jack, which I believe is an episode that Dead Cold Paranormal, Mark, did on his channel. So it'll be curious to read what they say here and then go back and watch his episode again. The Loch Ness Monster, something I have been fascinated about since I was a teenager and read pretty much everything I could find about that. Of course, UFOs, Area 51, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, and Yeti. And I've just recently read about Sasquatch. They have crop circles here, and I have a book on crop circles that I need to read. So again, this is going to tie in with so many of the other things that I've read about. The last section is cryptic artifacts. This has to do with Ark of the Covenant. I have a book, The Sign and the Seal by Graham Hancock. Oh, I just noticed my hair sticking up there. By Graham Hancock, that has to do with the Ark of the Covenant. Of course, that also comes up in a number of the other books related to the Da Vinci Code and so many other things. The Voynich manuscript, if you see right here, this box is labeled the Voynich manuscript. I picked that up a few years ago. I find it fascinating. And it's interesting. Some people say it's just a hoax that someone put together. Other people say it was written by a different civilization. So I'm curious to see what they have in here and how that, I haven't started going through and trying to figure out what the pictures or the language is myself yet, but I do have the manuscript there as well as some other books. I have my book on signs and symbols. Actually, I have about 4 books about signs and symbols. So again, all interconnects to things that I have. This one was fascinating to me as I enjoy crystals and working with them. This is Crystal Grid Secrets, and this says, learn the ancient mysticism of sacred geometry, which I've also read quite a bit about. And this is by Nicola McIntosh. So I'm very much looking forward to this read. Some beautiful pictures and different grids. Looking forward to that one. This one, because it made me laugh, and two, it ties in with my other idiot's book, The Complete Idiot's Guide to Managing Your Time. This is by Jeff Davison. I've mentioned I love this series because there's always extra little tips and points throughout the chapters. They have a nice summary at the end of the chapter. They're just fun books to read. And this one, I picked it up for a variety of different reasons. Definitely time management, which normally I'm good at and getting better. But this has quick and easy techniques for getting the most from every minute, idiot-proof steps for controlling how you spend your time, and valuable tips for getting paperwork into shape. So if you'd seen my live stream from a few days ago, I had shared about the book list that I have and trying to get all that organized and together. I also need to get some of my other personal things in order. So I figured this would be good and definitely go along with my Idiot's Guide to Speed Reading and remembering what you read. This last one was just, I couldn't pass it up. Joseph Campbell, The Power of Myth, and this is with Bill Moyers. I love the picture on the front of that, and Joseph Campbell, of course, is well known for his work on mythology, pictures in here. So I'm very much looking forward to reading that. And I just started going through The Caves of the Sun by Adrian Bailey that has to do with mythology and trying to find a common source for where all of this came from. But that was my 10 books for $20 haul at my local thrift store. I'm starting to think I should take shares in Goodwill. Anyhow, that was my latest haul at the thrift store. I am happy to say, yes, I am working through some of the books. I just finished the one on shipwrecks from Cape Cod, which was an excellent read. But in any case, let me know if you've read any of the authors that I've just mentioned. Are you a fan of the Vampire Chronicles? Have you read Joseph Campbell and his work on mythology? Do you work with runes or crystals or the tarot? Let me know in the comments down below. If you've enjoyed this video, found some authors you might be interested in checking out, be sure to give that like button a little tickle. Let me know in the comments down below, as all of that helps my channel get out to other people of like mind and has our little community continuing to grow. If you enjoy bookish content, nature videos, silly cats, they appear throughout the week, be sure to give that subscribe button a tickle and turn on the notification bell so you know when I upload content that may be of interest to you. And until next time, take good care.